welcome to the Manufacturing Meetup podcast. You know what we are. If you've seen us before, this is a show where we kick back, right? We relax in our downtime and we talk about the other downtime that we just had in our plans. So we look for sharing points around efficiency and what it's like to be on the shop floor. So I'm Ed Bellina, back with another episode.
Hello, guys. Alvaro Cuba here. How are you, mi amigo?
Having a great time. I had a little bit of an unexpected trip, and I had to work really hard to get a hat because I did bring one, but it's sitting in my suitcase in the hotel.
You got a hard hat this
I
time.
went searching, and here we are. It's actually really cool. That's a dead giveaway. I'm actually at a coffee plant, West Rock, Arkansas, at West Rock Coffee in Arkansas, outside of outside maybe about 30 miles outside of Little Rock. But you can see I've got some really cool stuff behind me. So that's why I'm here, and that's my hat. Alvaro, your hat looks damaged.
An excellent example on safety. Thumbs up, amigo.
Always keep the noggin. The noggin's got to be protected.
I probably, but by the way, I probably need someone like yours because look what happened with mine.
Oh, a safety problem.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go out fishing in Florida. You know, the alligators or the sharks want their pound of flesh.
Amigo, they almost take a pound of your flesh out of that sucker. Whoa.
I need you here so you can guide me to the perils of the
you know where I go fishing. It's called Canada, and they don't make them that big in Canada. I don't have to worry about getting beat. Maybe a finger getting bitten off, but not the head.
Now I understand why you went north and not
exactly.
south.
They make them big in the south.
Okay,
great. So, in our last episode, we had Glenn Yopes as our guest. He shared his innovation mentality framework. Really great conversation. I think we got an hour and a half's worth of content, and our poor producer is trying to figure out what to do with that. But today, we're going to see that concept right through a new guest that we have. And I'd like to welcome Andres Oviedo. Alvaro knows him better than I do. I've met him 15 minutes ago, so he has a lot more information. Alvaro.
I'll introduce Andres in a minute, but just to make the connection, I think it's very powerful afterward we talked to Glenn to bring Andres because he personifies the passionate pursuit that we were talking yesterday, and he converted it into a real operational excellence. And he speaks multiple languages, not only Spanish and English, but language from the shop floor and the C-suite and beyond. So it's going to be a great follow after Glenn. But before we start, please subscribe. Check the button below, subscribe, so you don't miss the conversations. And we can always have you in the show.
Excellent. Let's do it.
So, guys, we want to welcome Andres Oviedo, as we were saying in the introduction. He's our guest of honor today, and we are very, very happy to have Andres. He has a lot of experience. He started in Venezuela, his home country, and Philip Morris, Kraft, then Mondelēz. Actually, we met in Mondelēz when he was in Colombia, and we did a great job. He started manufacturing first, all the different jobs in manufacturing, and then he started managing end-to-end supply chains from procurement, manufacturing, customer service, logistics. Did for category, for an area. And then he came to the US to do supply chain excellence. And after that, he went to Kraft-Heinz to manage North America for a category. And he's now in Barry Callebaut. He's the SVP of operations in Americas. He managed 17 plants in all Americas. And it's for sure making a big difference. So welcome, Andres. It's great to see you again. And we'll be remembering our times together in in South America and then in North America. Welcome.
Of course. No, thank you, Alvaro and Ed, for inviting me. Wow, what a such an honor is to be here. And and yes, I guess sometimes we walk and we run in our careers, but we never stop a little bit to understand what are we doing and what legacy have we built, right? So it is a perfect timing to in this Latin or this Hispanic Heritage Month to honor and to understand what we are doing and how we contribute not only to the U.S. but in general to the world that in everything that we do in operation. So thank you for having me, and I am so thrilled and excited for these minutes to come.
Oh, this is terrific. As Alvaro shared your background with us, the success that you've had in lots of different environments, right? Because we know in some cases you can drive improvements and deliver results in a particular environment, and then when you're lifted from that to another, it's not always so easy to lift and shift. But you've managed to do that your whole career in different countries and different businesses, rising to leadership levels, and that's fantastic. It shows an adaptability and resiliency. So, as you think about your career, right, what do you think is one of the competitive advantages that growing up in the Hispanic culture brings to American manufacturing? And by the way, those of you that are watching this, yes, this is in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, but we purposely have chosen individuals that can provide insights regardless of what your ethnicity or background is. The nuggets you're going to hear from Andres, just like the ones you had from Glenn the last podcast, are equally applicable. This is not just for Latinos. We just happen to be celebrating it this month. So, with what do you think, Andres?
Now, before answering the question, I guess this is absolutely a very valid point. I mean, this is not about ethnicity. I mean, this is all about how can we support each other as a supply chain community on the things and learnings that can build and help others to succeed and to be better. So absolutely spot on, Ed. So which
It's about
competitive
experience, actually. It's
absolutely,
about how
absolutely.
you get the experience, how you share the experience, and the more broad your experience and more inclusive, the better for everyone.
Agreed.
Absolutely, Alvaro. So back to the question, Ed. This is a very good one, and I guess there's four things that I recall that are very important, given my background that I want to share with the audience. I guess the first has to do with resilience and adaptability. Just to give you a number, I personally have moved more than 16 times, 16 times in my whole life, and that develops a muscle of adaptability, of understanding the uncertainty, but having a clear role and goal where you're pursuing and what you have to do. So this for me is something that in my, in my culture is important, and keep the resilience as a one critical muscle and element of your skills is important. The second thing that is for me a competitive advantage is the creativity in problem solving. There's never, and also, especially in supply chain, we are always trending to have a standard, a checklist. We were joking initially about the CILs and stuff,
Yes.
and it's absolutely,
Yes.
and don't get me wrong. I mean, those are super needed, and it's part of the rigor that we need to do. But in moments of crisis, in moment of adaptability, the script, you need to get the perspective on following the script and having this creativity to understand how you solve problems. And this way and drive is absolutely something that make a huge difference. Third, but not least, is people first leadership. As a
Mm,
Latino, we're so people, and the bonding for us makes a huge difference. The way we do the work is absolutely important, and the way you build trust, the way you build a team, the way you engage our people is something that is really critical and make huge difference. And the fourth is you aim for the best. there's an ambition for excellence. There's a quest to be the best. And this resonates with in every single culture. You want to be that. You want to be the number one. And we as Latinos, and in my background, is something that is so embedded and in my DNA. And I guess it's worth to share. This is definitely a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
That's
And as you
awesome.
said, it's operational excellence, no,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
starts with people and all the four things that you mentioned, and then how you apply it to the processes, and then how you apply it to the business, and you ended up with the end-to-end excellence that you are talking.
And the great
Yeah, absolutely.
results, to match when you put all that together.
Andres, on a related topic, we were talking about the different languages and not Spanish or English, but you started your career in the plants and then you moved in different roles. Now you are executive. So now you speak corporate language, you speak plant language, you speak shop floor language. So how that ability that you get and you can go up and down and speak the different languages and most probably translate,
Yeah,
how you apply in the American plants. Give us a couple of
yeah,
examples.
for sure. I guess this is a very important element because that's the role that we play as a leader, right? How we translate the vision, the strategy, the macro expectations and aspirations of the corporations where we work into the most simple level that everybody can buy and make 100% of the organization pursuing exactly the same thing. So back
Mm.
to the question, there's three, yeah, I would say examples, but I will link with, specific elements in this translation of the corporate to the technical language that for me are very critical. The first has to do with how we bring the strategy into execution. So yes, I mean, we have a system we call in some independent on the organization, we call it DDS or we call it DMS, which is the way we translate into the management system to the daily
Yep.
platform where the whole operators and folks in the lines understand what we are pursuing. So having this translation into the most simple way that the shop floor can understand and relate to the macro strategy is one critical element of this translation. The second element, I guess, is as I mentioned, people is paramount in this journey. So the way you build trust and engagement is very, is really important. So when we say walk the talk, it's really important.
Yep.
You cannot ask for something when you are not, honoring whatever you said. And Ed, you mentioned initially about the helmet you have and safety. When I always said safety first, quality always. You cannot ask your folks in operations, to honor and be 100% committed with safety when you don't walk the talk, when you
Absolutely.
don't follow the instruction, when you don't use the or follow the procedures when you're texting while you're walking in a plant, right?
Right.
This is a type of thing that is not about major things, but that's important. And the last is, of course, how you drive performance while you're in a crisis. COVID teach a lot into this quest, how you handle the uncertainty, the challenges into a way that companies understand, put people first, business follow, but keeping the procedures in this translation of languages. But yeah, for me, those are the three good examples that I guess can describe what you guys ask.
Great examples. And we talk with Ed exactly that. Actually, he loves the safety and the quality, and always
Mhm.
related, always both hand in hand. One for people, one for products, and for the entire business. Andres, moving a little bit into a transformation. We talked with Glenn last week about entrepreneurial spirit, and I have I work with several startups, and it's clear in a startup, the risk taking, the innovation, the visionary, the problem solving, and all that. But what we were talking last week is how important is to keep that fresh approach into organizations. And the bigger the organization, probably the more challenge to do it. But I'm sure you are doing it in your transformations in the US manufacturing, the different operations that you have managed towards zero loss and value creation. So, what innovative approach have you found that you learned probably in Latin America and you have found useful in North America?
Very good. I guess the first approach that I guess and I love this entrepreneurial spirit, put it in action, that this is something that we as Latin heritage we bring a lot, is dare to try.
Yes,
we take risk. I mean, as assume risk. It is okay in when for sure you're not exposing yourself to any harm or the business, but to try different things, and it's okay to fail. Of course, the organization needs to be, depending on the organization, you need to align, but try to do things different. So for me, this is a first thing that you need to put in action if you really want to have different results, especially doing under a transformation. The other piece has to do with resourcefulness under crisis. We often in Latin America deliver results with very limited resources.
Yep.
And resources
not often.
Every time.
Always.
All the time.
Most of the time. You do more with less. And this is something that we're teaching. And again, back to the culture, and how can we, spread this into different culture? This is okay. And it's okay when you try to do something that probably are not prescriptive as they are, but you are sure that you're tackling that element that will make a difference. Second, absolutely people first. Engage, under transformation, the most important thing is to have the people clear on the journey. Be open the door for your people. Stay close to them, because the transformation is nothing but making people change things on the very short period of time, but absolutely with a purpose and understanding and embracing the change. So for me, those are critical elements that we need to put in consideration.
Oh,
we experience all of them together in our different
Alvaro, remember. Yes.
I do remember greatly. Yes. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
No, there's definitely do more with less type of mentality, and that also spurs creativity, right? We were talking with Glenn last week about, I mean, once I got to a point where I had a little more confidence in myself, I took the approach of beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. And that could be a little risky, okay? But that's hey,
we know that
the fruit is not on the ground. You got to go up the tree to get the fruit. Anyway,
yes.
So thinking about that, we're talking about cultures, and if you spent the formative years, I'll say, of your life in Latin America, growing up as a leader, as a manager, and now you're trying to translate that success to the U.S. What were some of the bigger cultural adjustments you had to make in going from like a Latin American predominant workforce to the U.S.? Although in some of our plants, the demographics don't look much more than some of our native countries. So what were some of those changes?
I will probably summarize in one, and for me, this is absolutely something that keeps in my mind always. In Latin America, people naturally follow leaders more personally.
Yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you build trust, and that trust is built through relationship. In the US, North America, the core expect to understand the why.
Yes.
The reasons behind it. What is in it for me before they're fully committed.
Yep.
So what did I do is, focus always in communicating the big picture Why are we doing this? Where are we going? What is that destination that we are embracing? And once people are fully clear on that, you see the spark coming and the change there.
It happens.
It
It's a beautiful
happens.
point. It's a beautiful point you make, because I do feel, I'll just speak for myself, culturally, I was raised to, like, you respect authority, right? El jefe, the boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but I think deep down inside, we're all human beings are the same. We quest for knowledge to give our work purpose. So whether you're in Latin America, you tend to be a little bit more trained to, or you got to do what he says because he's the boss. In the U.S., you get challenged, right? But I think deep down inside, as individuals, we all want to understand that, right? We all want to know why you're asking me to do something, especially if it doesn't quite make sense to me at start. So that's a really key point you bring up. So,
Yeah, and
Alvaro,
and it's a huge difference when you go process first and then you try to bring the people versus when you go people first and then everything happens. Like Andres was
Correct.
saying, the magic happens.
Yeah.
And TPM and everything we learned from the Japanese and all our practices were exactly that. So
Yeah.
the three first pillars were always organization, culture,
Education, education and
people,
training. People.
education
Yeah.
and training. Those were the foundation.
yep.
Then you come to the different pillars in the organization. So
Yeah.
uh, amazing point, Andres. You talked several times now about crisis. And obviously, when we come from Latin America, there is always demand volatility, or huge
And
demand, or zero
in, Ve-
demand.
in Venezuela, Alvaro, I guess it's a PhD of prices.
Yeah, that's true. It's PhD crisis, but every single country in Latin America,
Of
every
course,
single
of
one,
course, of course, of
inflations
course.
go to the roof, then goes zero. Political upheaval all
Back
the
and forth.
time. Reorganizations, not only the company, the business, the government, everyone
Yeah.
is always so. We really working in Latin America, we get PhD in crisis management.
Crisis.
Uh, and we all do that. But in COVID time, and you also mentioned this, you were in North America already, uh, and the other big changes in North America. How are you able to translate that learning that we have all ingrained into some concrete things to do in North America?
Yeah. I guess three takeaways and things that I keep into my day to day, let's say, elements of management in my organization. The first is be resilient under pressure. Never give up. I mean, be resilient. Second, be proactive, solving issues and problems. Anticipate them. Smell when something is coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
third, put your people always first. You want to handle a crisis without considering your people, you're out.
You're in trouble.
So, absolutely. So,
and not
resilience under
only and not
pressure.
only bringing your people, but empowering them. No? Because
Of
when
course.
you were saying smell and all things, they are the first. They
Of
are
course. Of
in the
course.
day
Of
to
course.
day. So
Yeah.
using them,
100%.
empowering them for them to manage this, and this connected to the point that we were talking before about the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this is what I was, going after, making quickly the 3 points, because for me, it's very important to keep them, clear. So when you talk about resilience under pressure is, understand the crisis, that crisis is a crisis. You need to get a little bit out of that
Yep.
crisis, otherwise decisions will be bad, and make the proper channels, establish the right, let's say, elements and deliverables of that crisis. When I mean what I meant about proactive problem, solving the problems is, and you mentioned, it's not, it's something and that in essence we learn in TPM, you said, Alvaro, or IWS, is detect the signs of when the things are starting to fail, and make actions, make it incorrect, because it's better to catch things in before they become a crisis. And when we talk about people, first is, yes, I mean, empower, open channels, let them to raise the concerns, and develop as they come the solutions in the follow-up while you handle the crisis. Yeah.
So, as you, I think we've all experienced this in our career. As your scope of responsibility grows, right? And now you're in charge of not just one plant, not just 5 or 6 plants, but you're in charge of a continent. You're responsible 15, 20 plants that you have to get to, right? Um, how do you stay connected to get that pulse of the shop floor that is so important to understanding the impact?
Yeah, I guess that, I mean, if you ask me which role has been for me the role that I enjoyed the most and that I really love, was the plant manager role in every
Ah,
single aspect. Oh
oh
my
my
God.
God.
Uh,
Oh
And
yeah.
that's exactly where you said, oh, I see easily, or I mean, always, with a absolutely amount of effort, but you were able to see transformation, you were able to see everything. So when you were coming from that experience, the best way to stay connected, whatever role you get as you continue going up, is regular plant visits. You have a schedule of
Yeah.
going to the plants, smelling the place, how is it
I love
going, connecting with people, do lunches, meeting with talents, town halls, stay as much as you can, not only walking, but taking the most advantage of you, going there to inspire. Remember the 5 E's of leadership. One of them is to really envision, enable, and energize, right? So that's the role when you go to the plant. So this is for me one critical element. Stay present, have regular plant visits. Of course, develop this cross-level communication, right? I mean, understand when they talk and speak, pay attention, be present when you are in the plant. So with doing that, the people start engaging and having more trust.
Yep.
Also, you need to develop these structured touch points, right? I mean, when do you talk to the plants? It's every month, it's every 15 days, it's every week. I mean, depends on how critical things are. You need to stay and develop interventions. And also, I guess, and connected, Albert, with the point of empowerment, the last but not least, you need to empower your local leaders as well. They represent you, they represent the organization, and having the best talent and the best leader that actually can show and shine and use you, because in the end we are servant leaders. We are
Yeah.
just there for them, and they can make the magic happen. So absolutely, that's a way I can, I have been able to manage being remote,
Right.
kilometers and hundreds and thousands of miles away from the plants, and they remember you
Yeah.
every time they can, and actually they deliver what they have to. So yeah, that's the way I manage.
That's very cool. Again, the whole people discussion is weaves through all this. I would have every time I'd come into a facility and I'd try to be out there pretty often. I'd schedule an hour for a roundtable, and then of course the dreaded plant tour. But, part of the plant tour for me was not just about auditing against standards, but it was also about going and shaking, Joe's hand, who remembers me because he's a filler operator. And you know what? Those
Yeah,
connections are first of all, they recharge my battery, right? Even today,
yeah,
as a consultant coming in, when I walk into a plant and somebody said, "Hey, Belina, how are you?" I'm like, oh my God, they remembered me, right? It's like home
Well,
week at school.
everybody remembers you, amigo. Come on.
I try, I
yeah.
try, but
That
no,
happened. It's
You
like
do great, I can tell you.
and if you want a KPI, that's maybe a one KPI that you need to
I mean, what
track, but
can
you
be?
live in. Yeah,
Yeah,
to
No,
yeah.
how people remember you. That's important.
yeah, yeah, it's important. So hey,
Yeah.
we've covered a lot of ground, and we always try to kind of give our listeners a couple of bullets or nuggets that they can take away. So, if our listeners just take away 2 or 3 key lessons from your journey, what should they be? And I'm going to guess they're going to have people written all over it, but I'm not going to lead the witness. You tell us.
Of course, people will be there, but I guess before getting into people, you need to start with you, right? I mean, you need to.
Oh,
I guess one of the most important things that I have learned so far is that it is important that you have a purpose and a clear direction. Where do you want to go?
yep.
As I mentor young talents, I face this as a really concerning element. People sometimes they don't know where they are going, and they're just instructing to say and do, and this
Right.
is not okay. You
Right.
need to know, where do you want to go? What makes you happy? What's the place where you should, where you see yourself in the future? And I don't want to ask about the time frame, because when I ask 10 years, people clap like a whoa. No, I cannot. 10 years is like a lot. But
I'm going to be
yeah,
president in 10 years.
I don't know, maybe, you need to understand that and define the routes that are important for that. So this is one: have a clear purpose and direction. Where do you want to go? Of course, second, people. Lead with people first. Build the trust. Trust is so important. People
Huge.
will follow as long as they trust you, as long as you walk the talk, as long as you develop that connection and bonding with your teams and have them 100% committed. And of course, and this is connected with the previous section of the interview, I guess, embrace resilience and excellence. You cannot be okay accepting the things as they are today and the complacency as okay or running in substandards. You deserve more than that, much more than that. So don't be okay with the mediocrity. You deserve better. You can be the best in whatever job role you do. That's for
I
me,
love
the
it.
three.
Very,
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
inspirational. Very inspirational.
I appreciate it.
Excellence again. Yeah. Excellence again. I always remember when I just came into, it was my first job, the CEO of the company at that time. It was Philip Morris, Mr. Bible. I don't know if you remember him, Andres,
Hmm.
or not. He was saying, I have only two things to do, and one exception. One is the vision, set the vision. I
Yep.
need to be able to set the vision. Second, I need to rally the troops. I need to be everywhere and inspire the people. And the not to do is, once I do that, I need to get out of the way to make them successful. Once you have clarity, and I love what you said about even starting with you personally,
Right.
if I have clarity of purpose, where I'm going, and then I bring the people with me, everything will be solved in the journey.
You're unstoppable.
Absolutely.
Yes, you are
Yeah.
unstoppable. Exactly
You
like
got
that.
it.
Andres, as we wrap up, Hispanic professionals in the US, a lot of successful, as you, several others struggle, and several go back. So if you would give them a piece of advice, a message to advance in North American manufacturing, what would you say to them? What would be the main thing to focus?
Very good. Absolutely. I guess that I will start this answer saying, stay true to your roots. Embrace every opportunity with your unique perspective. Diversity is one of the most critical assets that companies can have, and you are part of that. Embrace your point of view, your perspective is okay, and be proud of who you are. That's the first thing I can say. Of course, bring your full self to work. You need to be present. You need to give the
Yep.
best. I mean, there's back to the previous answer that I gave. You cannot come here, just limiting yourself to do whatever. You need to be the first coming to work. You need to be the last leaving to work. You need to be the first that is, hey, we have overtime. Can I sign in? I mean, do your best. Bring additional ideas. Enjoy what you do, because this is what we are. We are Latinos, so for sure, come here and enjoy and live this in the best way you can. Of
And
course,
bring your music. Bring your music.
yeah,
And the
yeah.
food.
In some cases, we need to take care of that and don't think about it. But the point is that you make a huge difference. So for sure, bring your full self at work. This is one thing, and also lead with purpose. Invest in your team. Invest in your network. Invest in mentors, informal mentors, and build this relationship across every level. I remember Alvaro, even Alvaro was not continue being my direct manager. I continued talking to Alvaro for advice. I mean, you
Yep.
never know when somebody can help you and somebody can, bring that voice and wisdom that you need to continue pursuing the excellence and the career that you have or want to pursue. So again, those for me are the critical things that you need to embrace, and of course will make a huge difference on you. Don't forget who you are, embrace that, and be
I
proud.
love it. Don't forget who you are, and and reach back to help those like you were helped along the way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
some real strong tenets. Um, so, hey, we're going to wrap this up with one last question. That is, as you look at American manufacturing today, right? If you could change one mindset about leadership, what would that be?
We need to move from managing tasks to leading people. As simple as that. We need to stop the checklist. Instead of investing 100% of your time, engaging the people to make a difference, to leave a legacy, to understand what the purpose, and encourage them to be and become the best version of themselves. For me, this is actually something that we need to change, and we urge to do that quite soon.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it all comes back to people, right? And
Yep,
engaging with
totally.
people the right way.
Inspiring,
Yeah, and
empowering,
taking a chance on
bringing them
taking a
out.
chance on some
Thank you.
folks, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Ed,
I'm gonna help you.
wonderful. Yeah,
I'm gonna
Ed,
help you.
that's important. That's so important. Sometimes there's biases in the process, in the corporate processes that we have. And once you connect with people, you probably see a different way to do and give them chances, opportunity. Probably is in the wrong place. I don't know, but took the
And
time to
every
connect with
time,
people.
and every time you connect with people, you help and you are helped.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because if you are listening, they are telling you
Oh,
also things, small nuggets that if you take them, you learn and you grow.
I,
absolutely.
I,
Totally.
one little nugget on this one. There was one plant that I used to go to. I always arrived at the same time, and I went to the same place to eat. Some of and it was almost like a beer joint, Alvaro, like MMU, the way we talk about, right? Well, they started
Yeah.
figuring out that would show up, and when my plant visits, they go there, and we would BS till 10 o'clock at night. The next morning, I'd walk in, and the plant manager and I were very tight, so I'd be like, "Hey, I heard you blew a batch of product yesterday." He's like, "How'd you find that out?" I was like, "Hey, I got my sources. I can't reveal them all, but
At the bar.
at the bar,
I
Yeah,
found out at the
two
bar,
shots of
by the
tequila,
way.
man, and they were telling me everything that was going in that plant."
Yes, everything.
Anyway,
yeah.
hey, I got to
Okay.
thank you, Andres. This has been a terrific experience. Learning about your travels, your success. Wish you tons more, which I know you'll definitely continue. And just want to thank you for sharing your
Amen.
perspective with us. It was terrific.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Andres. It has been a great episode and very practical, very direct on concrete things that different cultures can bring into the US and bring excellence. Thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for having me.
Well, friends, that's the wrap up for today's episode. So thank you very much for joining this meetup. If you are watching us, please follow, subscribe, leave us a comment, but more important, tell your pals, and let's grow up this meetup together. And give us your asks, your questions, your comments, always helpful. Ed?
Absolutely. So if you'd like to keep the conversation going, and I guess you do because you haven't booted us off the air yet, so we must be doing something right.
Not yet.
Not yet. But hey, it's always, what have you done for me lately, right? There was a gentleman that I knew that said, yes, there's nothing as silent as yesterday's applause. Show me what you do today. So anyway, email us back at mmu@augury.com. We also have links to Glenn's work in the show notes of this episode, as well as other notes. By the way, we have had people starting to ask us questions on our podcast, right? Please do that, because we'll get a lot of interest out of that, and maybe we'll even send you an MMU hat. So stay tuned, and see you next time.
See you guys. Bye.